Right, welcome back. Today is the third part, and this is the important part because now we talk about what accelerates the aging process. Do you remember in the first part we talked about, as an analogy, what causes the scratches on a CD? Well, this is it. So pay attention. So what ages us on daily basis, and we don't even think about it? We get exposed to environmental factors such as pollutants, toxins, chemicals, pesticides, and heavy metals. We live in a big city, we can't escape pollutants. Toxins we have in food supply, even water supply, a lot of the cleaning supply we're using on a daily basis. Chemicals we also have, in food supply, processed food. Pesticides, especially here in America, pesticides are a real issue because let me give you an example. I just saw a new study where they sprayed berries, in particular strawberries. Their skin is like a sponge, so all that poison goes inside the fruit. And so when they squeezed the fruits and the juice came out, there was so much pesticide in there, they could actually take the juice and respray the crop. And that's what we consume. So think about this. Causes cancer, causes many other diseases, messes up in methylation, and speeds up the age process. Heavy metals, same. We have it in our food, we have it in the air, even some of the cooking ware, and yeah, and also in the water supply too. Then we have deficiency in vitamins for methylation. So as we previously discussed, the methylation is the traffic light that regulates all the biological processes in the body. And we need raw materials for that to happen. And so what the body needs for DNA methylation is the B vitamins. Okay, B12, you want to buy only in methylated forms, especially if you have the MTFHR mutation, as we discussed prior, because you cannot make that essential, that conversion, from folic acid to methylfolate. And so B12, I challenge you, check your vitamins at home. If you have B12 that's made out of cyanocobalamin, that literally is made of cyanide, the same cyanide we use in chemical weapons and poison, yes. And so the form you want to use is the methylcobalamin. That's the form you want to use. So if you buy, to be on the safe side, if you buy a B complex supplement, just buy a methylated one. Never buy one that's not methylated. And then same with folate, which is B9. Most of them come with folic acid, which is the one you want to avoid. By the methylfolate one. Then we have B6, B2, choline, which is not really a vitamin, but very which is essential for methylation. And you can find choline, tons of it in egg yolk. And then we have TMG, also known as betaine or trimethylglycine, which is an amino acid that has three methyl groups attached to it, which has really good positive effects, to help with methylation. Then you can also get a supplement, SAMe. So all these, help you with the methylation process. Yes, you can get them from food supply, of course. However, most people don't eat, all the greens and beans and lentils, where you can mostly find them. So, but if you buy a methylated form of those B vitamins, to add to make sure you're good. Then the next one is drugs and alcohol. Drugs, of course, most of them are upper, which speed up your nervous system, and alcohol, is the opposite. It's a downer, and drugs can interfere with your sleep, which is essential, for healthy aging, and alcohol, also drugs, also damage your organs. So let me put that in perspective, because I know a lot of people drink 1 or 2 glasses of wine before they go to sleep, right? So they can sleep better, or they think they can sleep better. Well, what's happening is the body recognizes alcohol as poison. That's what it is. So it will always take care of that first. The body is in high alert. It turns on the sympathetic nervous system, which is the flight and fight nervous system, and tries to get the poison out of your system as fast as possible. And as all that is happening, and you fall asleep, you cannot get a restful, deep REM sleep. It's impossible because you need to be in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. Then you get a nice, good sleep. Alcohol and drugs get you into sympathetic nervous system, and you will not get a restful sleep. That's one thing. It also depletes, some of your nutrition. And yeah, so if you can, stay away from alcohol and drugs. And the next one is sleep deprivation. It lowers your immune system. It also activates your stress response, which correlates, with alcohol or drugs, because it, activates the sympathetic nervous system. It also impairs tissue repair and healing. Yeah, if you're sick or you have to recover from an injury and you don't sleep, it will take much longer to recover. And then also it messes up your gut health and also insulin resistance and also metabolic dysfunction. So I would say, to put that in perspective, how important sleep actually is. If you would ask me, David, what is the most important, if I only have to pick one thing that's free, I'm not talking about supplements or anything, what is the most important thing to slow down the aging process and to stay healthy and to heal? I would say it's sleep. It's that important. Doesn't matter how many anti-aging supplements and everything you take, if sleep is not given, because that's when all the magic happens, the healing and the recovery, that's not happening, nothing will happen. All right, next one is radiation. Radiation is an interesting one, especially when it comes to the sun. All right, how am I going to put this? I know a lot of people are afraid of the sun, and they keep telling us for the last 20 years, we use sunscreen because skin cancer and everything. It's another topic on its own, but I have my own opinion about that. Anyways, sun is life. Without sun, we wouldn't be here and nothing would grow. So we depend on sun, and that's what makes you feel good and makes you happy, because it also helps you with methylation. However, sun can be harmful because of the UV radiation if you expose yourself, too much, meaning to a point where you burn your skin and it starts peeling and stuff, right? Well, that is damage. That is sun damage. Yes, you should avoid that. However, if you go in the sun, every day for like 30, 40 minutes, trust me, that helps for health, methylation, and that correlates also for healthy aging. So don't be afraid of the sun. And by the way, the first 45 minutes in the morning when the sun rises, there is no harmful UV radiation. So if you're so afraid about UV radiation, go outside in the morning, and the first 45 minutes, you're safe. And then we have tanning bed. Well, same thing, what's happening is, the UV radiation, if too much, can break your DNA. So it causes DNA damage. But more so is X-ray. I mean, if you can avoid X-ray, please do it, because that literally cuts through your DNA. It breaks your DNA. I'm always getting mad when the dentist is coming in and doing an X-ray, and then they mess it up and they have to do it again and again. I'm like, God damn it! It's like, you guys are causing DNA damage in my skin, and I get wrinkles. Yeah, and now it's really happening like that. So avoid it if you can. Next one, we have nutrition that accelerates aging. Now that one could be a lecture on its own. There's just so much to talk about. Okay, so the best way to age quicker and also get age-related diseases quicker is the standard American diet. Fast food, processed food, and tons of sugar. Let me tell you something about AGEs, because this one is very underrated and it should be more talked about. Advanced glycation end products and sugar. Sugar, if you consume sugar on a daily basis, you age, and I'm not making this up, you can Google it, you age 7 times faster because it breaks down your collagen and elastins. And it's the same with AGEs, with food. So all the food comes with, advanced glycation end products. But What really accelerates them is on how to prepare them and how to cook them. High heat or even like burning your food accelerates the process by a lot. Okay, so to put in perspective, the FDA says we should keep HEs below 15,000. Sounds like a big number, right? But only 2 stripes of bacon in the morning is 82,000. And if you have 4 ounces of chicken breast, raw chicken breast, the AGEs is about 400. Then you cook it or you grill it, it goes up to 4,500. So the best way to avoid that is 2 things. Don't grill it or burn your food. Like don't burn the toast or the steak. I know it tastes good because in it getting brown, it starts caramelizing, creates the sugar molecules. But the problem is that sugar binds with the proteins and the fats in the bloodstream. They start malforming, if you will, and then they get deposited into your skin, not just in the skin on the externally, also internally, or the epithelia that surrounds all your organs, and it literally breaks the collagen and the elastins. And that's why when people consume a lot of sugar or unhealthy, food or burnt food, you will see they have hanging skin. So another way to lower AGEs is when you cook is with acid. It has shown it reduces the glycation process by 50% if you add some, apple cider vinegar or some lemon juice with it, and then poach it or steam it rather than grilling it. I know. I like grilling it too. I still do it sometimes, but for the most part, I switched it. Right, and then, oh yeah, I also want to say something about fast food. We're all familiar with fast food. We all have done it or still doing it. But here's one thing you need to know. Fast foods have no fibers. They take out all the fibers from their food. Reason number one is the food is cheap. So the way they make money is for you to come back, over and over and eat as much as you can when you're there. And the way and how to achieve that is to take out the fibers, because fibers keep you satiated, keeps you full. Has other benefits too, like lowering cholesterol and feeding good gut bacteria and so on. But in this case, you can eat more. And also the sauces that come with it, they add chemicals in the sauces that temporarily break the leptin signaling. So what is that? Our fat cells send us a signal to the brain. It's called the leptin, and tells the brain, hey, we have enough fat stored, stop eating. That's that feeling you get when you eat and eat and you go, oh, I'm full. But have you noticed when you go to a fast food restaurant, you can eat, and you don't get that feeling, and you eat and eat, and then you look like you're already pregnant because your belly's like sticking out so much because you're so swollen because you eat so much, and you still don't have that feeling of being full. That happened to me, but back then I didn't know. Now I know. Now I know better. All right, next one is anabolic steroids. Is anybody is listening here is a bodybuilder or fitness freak that's using steroids? Now's the time to turn it off. All right, so that's actually not too bad. Anabolic steroids, what's happening there? It activates mTOR activation, which is known as mammalian target of rapamycin. mTOR gets activated after workout. It's responsible for cell growth, cell regeneration, and proliferation. And also, it's a food sensor. So every time protein, amino acids come in, mTOR gets activated. In particular, the BCAAs, in particular, leucine. That one activates mTOR. And again, it helps for muscle growth. Yes, it does. However, studies have shown, at least in animals, when mTOR is chronically activated, you age quicker. Why? Because mTOR equals cell growth. So whenever your cells are growing, you also age quicker. Kind of makes sense. Now, I don't want to demonize mTOR because it's very important, right? Because we need it for building muscles and recovering and everything. But it's important to shut it down when you don't need it. So after a workout, yes, you want to have it activated because you want to build muscles, you want to recover and everything. But on days you don't train, you want to have it suppressed. And that's what we're going to talk about in a little bit, because there are some longevity supplements that temporarily, suppress it if you don't need it. All right, next one is chronic stress. Chronic stress, that low, inflammation stress that occurs because of that, is deadly. It messes up your hormone balance. It increases inflammation even more, especially the low-grade inflammation, that doesn't go away, and also impairs cellular function, as a negative impact, overall, if your entire health. But also chronic stress on a cellular level, it makes it hard for your cells to take up, oxygen and nutrients. And that's why when your cells don't receive, oxygen, some of the essential nutrients, your cell function, goes down. And that, of course, correlates in having health conditions, or age quicker. And then inflammation. Have you done the CRP blood test before? That one is very important. If you haven't, then make sure that you add that on your next blood test. It's a perfect marker to see if you have high inflammation in the body. And if you do have chronic high inflammation and your CRP is always elevated, it should be like close to zero, then the chances for you to have any heart issues goes up. And that can occur, from poor dieting, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, smoking, alcohol, drugs, and also environmental factors and chronic infection. Now, I had a lung infection, and when I did the test, my CRP was up to like 15, which is super high. But then, thank God, after the lung infection was gone, it went back down to zero. But if you do a test, 2 or 3 times a year, and it's constantly activated, you better talk to your doctor. And stay tuned, because the next chapter is how to activate those longevity pathways. These are those pathways we want to activate. And there's 2 ways. So watch the next series, because this one is going to be interesting.